What kind of fun poor experiences do you believe the wealthy are missing out on? Making a list of places you'd love to go to but can't quite afford, not even vacation sites, just nearby restaurants and stuff, and delighting in the satisfaction of finally going there. There's also a delight in imagining what it would be like. Good daydream fodder, which is why I occasionally buy a lottery ticket. You want to see a movie, but you're too poor, so you sit in the desert next to the drive-in and listen to the movie via your radio, while looking at the screen while sitting on a shopping cart. It's a fond memory of mine. I'm glad it's a fond memory. It sounds kind of picturesque, like something from one of those coming-of-age movies. Poor Christmas makes getting that one thing you really wanted so much more exciting, especially when you were certain your parents couldn't get it for you. My parents weren't always very well off, but I'll be damned if they didn't work their asses off to make certain things special for my sisters and I. I had a rich friend once. His favorite thing was to go to clubs with a small crew of people. He would pay the bouncers to let us skip the line, pay the bartenders to let us skip that line, buy us all our drinks and drugs. Strange thing was I noticed, he had trouble relating with the crew he would bring. Kind of awkward. What I realized from this experience is that being stuck in line together is where we build our bonds. Being broke together pulling enough money for food or drinks. Bonds are created through mutual sufferings of sorts. Being able to finally buy something you want after years of saving up. Ah, that feeling. I used to get ours, 100 per month. $1 equals 45 rupees to 50 rupees at that time, when I was little. I used to save all that money to buy novels. I had to save more than 9 months worth of pocket money to have enough money to pre-order the last Harry Potter book. Felt so happy. Putting water in things and shaking it up to make more of that thing. Hand soap, laundry detergent, shampoo. Small victories like paying all your bills on time or being able to buy groceries that aren't mostly ramen and rice beans. I love being able to groceries. Not really fun, but the impact of a death in the family is made much less stressful when you're poor because nobody's going to put up much of a fight over Uncle Ray's busted ass VCR or the rotary telephone with a broken dial. The process of going through their stuff and trying to figure out what to do with it is entirely about them and who they were, instead of being about their stuff and what it's worth. It sucks trying to come up with the money for a decent funeral though. Getting a comma in your bank account. The feeling of finding exceptionally cool clothes for next to nothing at thrift stores. There's some added challenge and reward in balling on a budget. This is the best when you have rich friends, and they ask you where you bought your clothes. That joy of finding $20 somewhere that you didn't know you had. Rich people can have that. John McCain had that experience once, but with a house instead of a $20. Having to buy the generic cheap food, wondering if it's gonna taste at least okay and it turns out to be delicious. These moments are the best. The fun of you and all your brothers and sisters being jammed into a fake wood-paneled, rusted Ford station wagon for a cross-country road trip from Minnesota to Arizona. Years later am I able to finally laugh about it. There is this really fun game I like to play sometimes. It's called Can I Afford Food Next Week. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure game, but pretty much all outcomes are bad. Thinking you're all out of money and then discovering that you actually have a little bit left. Kicking a rock home. Or the depressing moment when you try to kick it, but miss. Then while still walking, you reach your leg back to grab it but still miss. It takes too much effort to turn around and kick it, so you keep walking forward hoping no one saw. Musical bills. That's where you pay your monthly bills randomly and when the money stops, the last one to find a chair doesn't get paid. Eating ice cubes for fun. Put toothpicks in the tray as they are freezing. Ice popsicles. Unless you can't afford the toothpicks. Food, KFC, as good as it is, tastes very different when you are broke. So many better food memories. So true. Hunger is the best condiment. Although free food tastes pretty great as well. Being able to be thankful for something. I am no longer poor, but my family was very poor after the 11th of September. Dad lost all his money and his job, and I had a baby brother with millions as medical bills. We lost our house, cars, everything. On my 15th birthday my mom and dad couldn't afford me presents. I didn't care. I knew that we were tight on money and they would have if they could. My birthday also happened to fall on Thanksgiving. I remember seeing my mom crying in her room to my dad because she couldn't afford me a present. I'll never forget that day. At dinner they told me they were sorry they couldn't afford anything for my birthday. It made me mad. Mad that they were sad. I couldn't explain why. I told my mom I hated presents anyway and all I wanted was time with my family. It turns out my mom sold some of her grandmother's jewelry so they could buy me a birthday dessert. I'd never been more thankful for anything in my life. Obviously I didn't mean the dessert, but the fact that my parents were willing to suffer to try and bring me joy. I knew my parents loved me, but I didn't know how much until that day. God, I love my parents. I hope they know how much. I think the wealthy are missing on the experience to bond with their significant other in maybe not so desirable conditions like moving into a new place with spouse or so and not having a dining room table. So you sit on the floor on either side of a recently unpacked cardboard box or a very unstable hand-me-down coffee table your mother-in-law gave you and share a pizza because screw cooking on moving day. Making love because there is absolutely nothing else to do. Timing the microwave popcorn to be ready when the movie starts on ABC. Finding a movie in the DVD pile that you'd forgot about and, thus, haven't seen 15 times already this year. Finally getting the antenna turned right so that you can pick up that fourth channel from the next city over. When your so wakes up 2 hours before you and already has the heat on. When the good bread goes on sale. Making love because there is absolutely nothing else to do. So that's why poor people have so many kids. I doubt that the extremely wealthy enjoy getting a good deal to the extent that others without as much disposable income do. I managed to purchase some tickets to a professional sports game the other day for a really good price. I think the deal itself made it a little more enjoyable. Buying a $5 Little Caesars hot and ready on payday makes you feel like a king. A couple of years ago I was deep in debt and had to survive for almost a year by dumpster diving. I literally had a budget of £2.3 a week for essentials. The rich will never know what it is like to find food when you have nothing. Sometimes you get a balanced week of veg, carbs and dairy and sometimes you get a solid week of cheese and birthday cake. Frick poverty. There is nothing you miss about that crap. Money may not always buy happiness, but poverty almost always brings misery. Thrift shopping for actual economic purposes. When you're not grabbing out the ironic t-shirts and ridiculous fur coats a la Macklemore, you have to learn to find things in your size that don't smell bad, that don't have holes, etc. It's the ultimate scavenger hunt experience. Learning how to get various stains out of clothes, too. A lot of my thrifted wardrobe came with a few stains. It's not that hard to get a stain out with the right products. I've gotten ballpoint ink out of silk shirts. It just takes some finesse. Here in lower middle class Pennsylvania a good afternoon can be had out on the porch drinking a case of light beer and watching traffic roll by. In rich neighborhoods you can't even see the road from most of the porches. What good is a porch if you can't see the dang cars go by? The feeling of being taken care of and finding out who is truly there for you through tough times. In high school I was about to be kicked out because my mom couldn't afford the tuition. I remember being called into the office, stressed out and scared that I was gonna be asked to leave, then being told there was a donation made to my name. Someone had anonymously paid $10,000 for me to finish sophomore year and start junior year. I couldn't believe it. I was beyond grateful and felt really supported in that moment. When I went home and told my mom, she started crying. She was so happy. My best friend of 6 years just recently slipped up and told me it was her family who helped me. The best part is, at the time, me and her had just started hanging out and her parent hadn't even met me yet. Eating a nice cheese and mustard sandwich. Riding public transports. Public transports are great places for inspirational crap and life lessons. No parking tickets and you don't have to shovel your car out of the snow in winter. I was riding the subway once and a musician pulled out his clarinet to busk and he began to play George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. I gave him $1. You've been visited by the rare bread doggo. Comment toast well, pupper and be granted with great fortune in bread. I hope you enjoyed the video and are safe from illogical breakdowns. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.